All right. So we're going to start with, just like Christine said, some basic navigation, get you warmed up with what you're seeing here on the interface with Acumatica. And then we'll get into the sales processing and move over to purchasing after that. But what I have up on the screen first is a dashboard named after my warehouse manager. That's the role that we're showing off on this particular dashboard. Now, these dashboards are available to be assigned to users, and they are flexible. You can create these accordingly and assign those to as many users as you like, or different roles can have their own dashboards. So I'm just showing off some inventory-centric dashboards right now. And before it times out again, I just wanted to show off the mobile device. So when we were talking earlier about Acumatica being any device, anywhere, anytime, it truly is the case because, like Christine said, this is my Android personal phone here. And this is the Acumatica interface on that mobile device. And so that security, the role-based security that's available inside of Acumatica will follow you from the browser to the mobile app to laptops, literally anywhere where you have Acumatica installed or that you pull it up via the browser. And along those lines, Acumatica is not browser specific, it is browser agnostic. So you bring your own browser and we're going to work with that browser. So whether you prefer Chrome or Edge, Safari, Firefox, whatever, give it a shot, it'll work. And so that's the overall message here is that Acumatica being a cloud-based application, any browser, anytime, anywhere, any device for that matter. All right, and like I said, going back to the dashboard, I am showing off the Warehouse Manager dashboard since this is a distribution-centric demonstration, but do know that you could have as many dashboards as you like. And in my demo atmosphere here, my demo ecosystem, I do have payroll, I have finance, and again, you can do any of these that you like, set these as your home page, assign those to the roles that need these dashboards. All right, so that's the dashboard. Over here on the far left-hand side, we call these workspaces. And the workspaces are where you lump together those items that are similar. And out of the box, you're going to see things like those sales-oriented items or the inventory menu items all lumped in their own screens. This, again, is configurable. You can also mark items as favorites. So if I come over here to my sales module, you notice that I have the sales order marked with a star, and then that'll push that over into my favorites environment. So instead of bouncing in between one module to the next, I can just mark everything as favorites and work from my favorites workspace instead of going in and out of all those different workspaces. So a lot of flexibility in how you define and decide how you work with Acumatica. Now, one other piece here on the interface I want to make sure to go over before we get off of this screen is the search bar up here on the top. This is our universal search built directly into Acumatica. This is where you're going to search for just data, whether it's menu items, transactions, or help topics, or even files. You'll see those 4 different types of results returning here on the screen. I searched for 1099, it's just numeric. If I search for something else like case, again, you'll see search results for cases come up, including the transactions, help topics. And then even over here on the files, this is going to return the files that we've uploaded into the system. So as you take files and push them into Acumatica, assign those to different records like you see here. I have a case study that's a PDF file that was attached to a customer named ABC Studios. Well, Acumatica case study longevity became searchable in our database. And so again, whether it's a menu item, a transaction, a file, or a help topic, you're going to see all 4 types of results. Now let's move on to a little bit more of the functionality inside of Acumatica, specifically in the sales processing. And that's going to be over here in my sales order workspace. And before I go too far, let me go back to the dashboard. I just wanted to point out that right now, we're getting that big picture on this Warehouse Manager dashboard, orders that I need to ship. We see that we have 2. Down here on the bottom, I have nothing to receive. So this dashboard is interactive. And as I process a sales order and convert it into a shipment and ultimately into an invoice, you're going to see transactions and information update accordingly on that dashboard. So let's just go ahead and open up my sales order generic inquiry. And that's what our terminology is for a data view. And what's coming up here on the screen is my list of sales orders that I have in the system. And so you can think of this as almost like an ad hoc report tool. You can see a list of all of my sales orders I have in the system. You see the status as a column here. Everything's been completed. I have different dates and dollar amounts. So these little ad hoc reporting tools are flexible. So I can look for sales orders that are not completed. So if I come into my status column, just click the filter on the top, I can look for items that are, say, let's just say open, for example. And now I've limited the number of records down here to 953 versus the number we had up before. And if this is the type of a filter that you would like to have permanent in the system, all I have to do is come over and click that Save Filter button right here, and I can name that filter Open Orders, for example. Save that, and it becomes a permanent filter here in my list. Now I can still get rid of the filter, and I can add other filters, and I can do other things. So if I keep doing filters on top of filters on top of filters, let's just say, for example, I'm looking for dollar amounts that are greater than, we'll say, $5,000. I did another filter inside that. Oh, that was quantity, not dollar. I hit the wrong column. There we go. Order total. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. I clicked on the wrong column. There we go. So I'm filtering inside of a filter inside of a filter. So that's the idea, is that you can create your own reports. You can move the columns around. So you notice that customer is smack dab in the middle of this report. So if I wanted to, I can just drag the customer over here to the front. Same thing with the customer name. And now I've, again, adjusted this report more than once. And if I may have some other columns in here that I need to add to the system, and that's my little column configurator here on the far left-hand side. Maybe I want to add something like, branch. I do have multiple companies in my system and multiple branches as well. And did I click the button? I may not have clicked that, but that's the idea. I can get rid of and add columns accordingly. Let's just get rid of customer name off this list. There we go. And so again, I can move columns around. I can adjust columns. I can create filters, or I can just come back in here and reset and set it back to where it was before I touched the system. I just wanted to give you some ideas what's going on here with your ad hoc report writing tools. And then also note, you always have the ability to export to Excel. This is going to be across the system. Just about every screen where you see data, you're going to be able to do that export.